Here we are going to see the topics of introducing solution and tools. In an solution and tools, when it's come to solution and tools, the desktop agent is a key which is going to run a automation in a build process and it will be installed locally on a user's in desktop. It automates the projects that launch and runs on applications of various kinds. Basically, what's the desktop agent will do? It will run a process instead of a human intervention. It will run and automate the process by its own. That's why we have installed the desktop agent. Okay. Once we install the desktop agent, we have a setup and the prerequisite that has to be completed in an process automation. What are the prerequisites that has to be completed? Earlier, if it's come to intelligent OPA, consider the concept of dev, test, prod by building the environments and the agents. But now SAP has changed. They have moved all of these prerequisites from environment to tenants. Now we are going to set up a tenant. Already we have set up the tenant as dev. Then later we will be setting the test and the production tenants. But in the environments, we have to set up our own environment. What are all the types of environment that we can able to set up that has been provided by as an option in an BPA, in a process automation? First, we will go through what is an environment and what are the two types of environments and what the environment will be accessible and how the artifacts that we can able to add in an environment. Yeah. The environment is nothing but a functional area in which you can deploy your build automation projects. You can use the environment to control how to deploy and execute the projects, and the deployed is more than one environment and different project versions. By creating a shared environment, you can increase the security of deployed projects and corresponding artifacts and resources by limiting the access and managing project members. Actually, what it's that once we build an environment with and shared, it will be more helpful with the security perspective of the deployed projects. As well, we can able to share our environment, the deployed projects among our team. But it's come to a public environment. There are two types of environments, one is shared as well as the public. Okay. The shared, but by default, when you create a sub account, when you create a global account, when you create a sub account, you will be getting a public environment as by default. We will log into a system and we will look into detail. Before that, we will cover these topics as well first. What is the concept of public environment? A public environment contains all of the testing, all of the existing projects that are already deployed in SAP Build Process Automation. In that environment corresponds to the settings already made of these projects, and the access to the public environment is protected at the tenant level, so every users who access the tenant can able to access the public environment. But actually, the public environment is not specifically as security constraints. If we create a shared environment, that will be more helpful with the security constraints. That's the major difference between the public as well as the shared environment. Apart from this, we have more options in a public and the shared environments. Once we deployed a project to a shared environment, there are some differences. I will show it in your table that you can able to understand easily. Right. Actually, the use case first, what we are going to discuss about is if you have created a project and you have deployed the first project in a version of 1.00. Once you deployed a project with the initial version, then you're deploying the project in a public environment. The version is deployed and it will be activated. And in a shared environment is also the same. The version is deployed and activate for the specified environment. Okay, that we will be adding here. And in a second use case, we are going to see if you are going to deploy your second project with a version of 1.0.1. You have updated the version as 1.0.1 and you are going to deploy the project in a public environment. Once you deploy the project in a public environment, the version is deployed and it's active. Version 1.0.0 will remains deployed. All triggers are associated to the latest version, which is nothing but which means 1.0.1. But in a shared environment, the version is deployed and it with a latest version of 1.0.1, the version is deployed and active for the specified environment, and the version 1.0.0 is no longer active. That's a major difference between this public as well as the shared environment. Here in a shared environment, version will be deployed and active for the specified But have you noticed down here in public environment, there is no, the word is specified environment is mentioned. But here in the shared environment, have you noticed the word of specified environment? What's the difference between the public environment and the shared environment that we have seen? But the specified environment, in a shared environment, why this specified environment is mentioned as well? We can able to create a multiple shared environments which is specific to the project related. For an example, if we are going to automate a process for the purchase order creation, then you can able to create a shared environment for specific to the purchase order automation. If you are going to create a automation or if you are going to create a workflow instances for the sales order creation or the Outlook SDK automation or Outlook Excel automation or PDF automation, then you can able to create a shared environment for specific to that process. That's what it's mentioned as specified environment. Yeah, got it. These are all the differences between the public as well as the shared environment. But as you know that we are going to see a real-time scenarios for the build process automations, which it contains a multiple artifacts such as triggers, workflow definitions, API keys, automations, and the agents that will trigger the automation. All those things we are going to do in a real time. But is the both will be available in a public as well as the both artifacts will be available in a public as well as the shared environment that we will be look into the detail then next. Moreover, what are the differences between the artifacts that are available in a public as well as the shared environment means in the sense the automation, alert, application, project launcher, user task, action group, process, both all the artifacts will be available. Let me create another one table and show it what are the differences and what are all the available. Guys, do you know what is the artifacts? I'm mentioning here the artifacts. Do you know what is the artifacts and which I'm referring to? Let's log into the system. I will show you what are the artifacts first. Then I will make a difference for those. We have logged into our SAP BTP cockpit, and this is a global account. In a global account, we can see there are two tenants. Tenants is nothing but a sub account, which is meant, which a sub account is created for SAP BPA, and it's created for the SAP DMC, which is the other services is presented is available in Cloud Foundry environment. And we will navigate to our sub account, which is SAP BPA. In this SAP BPA sub account, there are three instances that have created and the subscriptions that are added to our sub account. When we go to this instance and subscriptions link, here you can see what are all the applications that has been, what are all the services that has been added to a sub account, and corresponding to that services, the instances has to be created. Yeah. Then we will launch our build process automation lobby as an application. And we will see what is an artifacts. Okay. Here, once you create a project is nothing but I have created a project BPA underscore session 1. In this project, what are all the artifacts that you are going to create? You will have a list of these modules or artifacts or the elements which is presented here. What SAP is telling, the in a shared environment, you will be not able to find some of the artifacts such as process, form, approval form, visibility scenario, decisions. But right now, why we can able to see all these artifacts we have to check what environment currently we are tied to. If we go to the control tower and we navigate to the environment style, which is present under the tenant configuration, you can see which is the public environment. In a public environment, all those artifacts will be available. You can able to create each and every artifact related to your requirement. Yeah. Now we will make a differences that you will understand the difference of the artifacts. We are in a shared environment. Most of the artifacts will be available. When it's come to process, it won't available. And here the shared environment, what are all the artifacts that is not available, the process forms, approval forms, visibility scenarios, decisions. These 5 artifacts that won't be available in a shared environment. That I will make and our others, the data type, document template, file, those 3 will be available in a shared environment. And when it's coming to a public environment, all the artifacts you can be able to, it will be available. Yes. These are all the differences between the artifacts which are available in a public as well as the shared environment. Okay. Apart from this, we have a runtime artifacts that which allows while it's running an workflow instances or once the automation is created, the automation task has been executed, then the runtime artifacts will also be available in a system that I will show. you can create one of the process, then you will be able to. When it's coming to a runtime artifacts, the moreover, it is specific to whether it will be available for an automation or it will be available to create a project or create a process or create some of the document template or file or decisions kind of thing. Now, in a shared environment, most of the uh, runtime artifacts will be available like a schedule trigger, API trigger, attender trigger, alert handlers, agents, environment variables, APIs, workflow definitions, deployed forms, approval forms, visibility scenarios, decisions, destination shallow list, those kinds of an artifacts, the runtime artifacts will be available in a short environment for, and it will be available for the automation as well. But in a public environment, most of the artifacts will be available, but it won't able to access for the automation process that we will see in a real time while creating a process. But these are all the major differences, and we will be using these artifacts. The artifacts list which I have shown you here, right? Those list is the main major important that you have to look into that for the different types of the environments. And apart from this, once the environment is set up and we have created a shared environment or the public environment, then we have to go through the agent management, which is nothing but a desktop agent management. Go through the slide. And we'll show you the environment that is available here. Yeah. How you can access and how you can see what are all the environments that are available and what are all the tenant details that is configured and what are the that we can be able to create as a new. Once you launch this application, the process automation application, the homepage you can see as a lobby. Then you navigate to the control tower. Here in control tower, we have different types of modules that is available here. One is tenant configuration, and is a backend configuration, agent configuration, and others. Okay, others is nothing but the API keys. When we are going to use any third-party systems access, or whether we are going to use the APIs, which is it's an REST API or the OData APIs, which is specific to SAP. That those API keys will be available here, and we have to create the keys for that. And in tenant details, here by default, the development tenant has been provisioned. But in later, if we want to move to the test or the production tenant, then we can you have to create the test as well as the production tenant based on your requirement and the phases. As we seen in the session, the PPT session, here the earlier in IRPA, they have segregated the environments as dev, test, and productions. But now what the SAP has changed, they have completely changed from the tenant based. It's completely a tenant based. A tenant based is nothing but a sub account, which we are going to create for the dev sub account, and another one is for testing sub account. It's completely for a testing process, and another one is for a production. All three will be comes under the sub account level. Then they have introduced a new concept of environment, which we have seen as a public as well as a shared environment. as I have shown you before, now we have defaulted as a public environment. When you click on this, you can able to see all these functionalities. What are the functionalities? Here, the project that we have not deployed. That's why we are seeing here. There is no project deployed, and the triggers. What are the triggers that has been? Sorry, it has been logged out. Okay, yeah. We have not initiated any triggers, so that it won't show any triggers as well here. Yeah. If you see in a table, the item is 0. Yeah, attended triggers. We have not initiated any bot also here, so that you can able you could not able to see any attended triggers. Any agent management also there we have not added any agents to a specific groups, or we have not created any artifacts or the attributes for the agents that we will be doing in the next level. The alert handlers, we can able to set an alert by selecting a specific agent. Once the agent is inactive or in it's an unattended or it's an attended mode, we can able to set that we can be able to set as to give us an alert. This is specific to alert handlers. The variables, if the variables we are going to use through the project, that we can able to set it here, that we can access throughout the project. And the API keys is nothing but where we are going to access the third-party system as well as the SAP system. The API keys will be added here, and we can see what are the API keys that has been added. Yeah, these are all the basic concepts, and you have to know about the environment and what are the difference between the public as well as the shared environment. If you see here, the public environment can access by the all registered user of this tenant. Right now, we have 7 registered users in this tenant, so that all the users can able to access this public environment. When we create a shared environment, it's specific to our project or it's specific to our requirement. Then there is security restrictions. We can able to control which user can access the environment and who can deploy the project there, and what are all the actions that has been taken from the shared environment. Guys, till this environment topic is clear for you, do you have any questions? Please ask me, because we will be going to move to the next topic, agent management now. When it's come to the agent management, in agent management setting, what we will be doing in an agent management, and why we have to create an attribute for the agent management. What is nothing but the agent management setting to execute the process with an automation that we are going to look into detail then next as a topic. Okay. In this agent management setting, in the first session, we have created and we have installed a desktop agent. Once the desktop agent is installed, we can set an attributes to the specific agents. If I have installed my agent in my system, in my machine, I have to create an attribute. Why we have to create an attribute? Agent attributes allows you to sort agents that is registered in an same tenant and make sure that a specific agent executes the job of your choice. Okay, we'll look into the detail. Agent attribute allows to for agents registered within the same tenant. Here, the same tenant which we are referring to the tenant is, we have seen there are the three types of tenants, the three types of subaccounts we are going to create as a development, test, and the production. In a development tenant, if consider there are 100 agents that has been registered, that means hundreds of agent that has been installed in a machine, then will be not able to find your agents, and you can't specific those agent and execute the job of your choice, so that to not get confused more on those finding the agent as well as to executing the job for our choice, we are going to create an attributes for our agents. Yeah. Make sure the specific agent executes the uh, what are all the steps that what are the steps that involve in creating attribute for an agent. Moreover, there are 4 steps that have been included here. First, we are going to create a shared environment. In a shared environment, we are going to create an attribute for our agent. The step 1 is create an environment and add your agent to the environment. And the step 2 is, moreover, create an agent attribute in the tenant. And the step 3, add the attribute to your agent. Step 4, add the created attribute to your project. First, we will go step by step. We will create an attribute in a system. We will create, first we will create an environment in the system. Okay. This is our system. And in a control tower, when we navigate to the environment tab or environment type, here you can see the option to create an environment. You can see, we can give your name as a choice. I'm giving as environmental BPA underscore TCS underscore training. You can choose our color, which color is and click on green. Once you create an environment here, you can able to see that environment is created in a system.
Then click on your environment and choose agent management. In an agent management, you can see there is an add agent option. Here we can see what are all the agents that are installed specific to this tenant. Here, as you wish, you can add your agent. I think my agent is here. I'm adding this agent to this environment. Now the agent is added and it's ready to run. Then I have to create an agent attribute in the tenant level. Now that you have created an environment, we added an agent, then we will be going to create an attribute of an agent in the tenant level. For that, we have to go to a control tower again, navigate to the control tower. Here, in an agent, under the agent configuration component, you can see that agent attributes are there. Once you navigate to this agent attribute, you can see the create attribute button is there. Here we have the option as a type for free and the predefined. Moreover, what is the difference between the free and the predefined? The free type of the attribute won't be able to add any predefined value. Whenever you want to use this attribute, you'll be able to parameterize the value in an attribute. And when you choose the predefined option, you'll be able to populate the values for the specific attribute. But for now, we will be using the free attributes. Okay, if you click on predefined, there is values that has been changed, but in a free, you can't be able to add the value. The major difference is nothing but the values there we are going to use in a real time. We will be using our employee ID in our values to specify, or we can identify easily the attributes that we have created. It's moreover identification key or a flag that are going to use here. If you want to give us a predefined. These are all the predefined values that we are going to use. Right? Okay, when we click on create, it will create an attribute. The value is agent underscore 00. The type is predefined. Okay. Once we create an attribute for an agent, we have to add the attribute to your agent. We have to add this attribute to our agent. We will go through the next step. We will add our attribute to your agent. For that, we have to navigate to the control tower. In a control tower, you could find an agent icon, agent tile here. In an agent tile, search for your agent, which is your agent. Actually, this is my agent.
But before we assigning the attribute to our agent, we have to check, we have to verify that whether the agent is, whether our agent is idle or ready, and it's connected and connected in an unattended mode. How we can check that? Yeah, we have to log into our RDP system. Then we have to check that whether our agent is idle or ready and it's connected, or it's attended or in unattended mode. Let me quickly log into my RDP. Yeah, once you log in to your RDP system, you can see there is a shortcut icon of desktop agent. When you click on the shortcut icon, or you can navigate from the sys tray also. In a sys tray, you can able to find the shortcuts here. Yeah. Once you open this desktop agent, then navigate to the setting. Oh, sorry for that. Navigate to the setting and you can check the mode. Right now, my agent is in attended mode. Okay, but once this agent is attended, sorry, first we have to check whether the agent is ideal or not. Yeah, now the agent is idle, and we will check in our SAP process automation lobby under the agent whether see guys, my agent is ideal now and it's in unattended mode. To set the attribute, it should be in unattended mode so that we have to forcefully activate the unattended mode. Then we have to set the attribute there.
Others. So like this, we are checking if our agent is ready to be added. Is it like correct? We're checking the agent here.
Yeah. Sorry, a minute. Able to get your question. Yeah. Yeah, tell me, Ashna.
So I'm asking like we're through this, we're checking that if our agent is ready to be added, right?
Yes. Actually, once you log into this RDP system and you click on the power, there's a, if you see, let me go to the RDP system. If you see, when you have to want to shut down and restart, you can able to do that. Once you log in and click on the desktop agent shortcut, it will be in idle and connected to tenant. It will be in a ready state. It will be in an ideal state. Okay, but this we have not triggered this agent to execute any actions. That's why it's in ideal state. I got my point.
So we needed to be in the unattended state.
Yes, not at every time. Once you setting the attributes, that I'm only we have you have to set your mode as unattended, and if you click on, if you go to this desktop agent, if you open this desktop agent shortcut, automatically it will be in ideal mode. It will automatically start the desktop agent. Yeah, but answer to your question, at every time you have to start your agent. Then only you can able to see the agent is ideal or in start mode.
Yeah, every time once we start the desktop agent, it will be in the ideal state and in attended. Is it?
Yes. At every time once you start this agent, it will be in idle and it's in attended mode. To setting an attribute only, you have to set forcefully as unattended mode. The attended mode should be the right state to trigger an bot. Okay, once we setting an attribute, we can able to set it back to an attended mode, to activate back to the attended mode.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Now I'm setting my bot to unattended mode. If you see, this is active. Once you don't want to set it to the unattended mode, you can able to pause this and you can activate this, activate back to an attended mode. But the ideal and the right state or right mode to execute the bot is ideal and attended mode is the right mode. These are the prerequisites that you have to follow before you creating or before you executing the bot, the attributes and the environment creation, all those things. That's why I'm explaining in the beginning. Once you be moving into the real-time scenarios, so creating an workflow instance and creating an automation process, we will be using those attributes from our agents while triggering an automation process. Is that you can able to understand, right, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Once you are set to the attended mode, you can have to click on these three dots, then click on this manage attributes. Here you will find the attributes which you have created and select that attributes in an attribute drop down and select the values which you have given there. These are the values that you have given there. You can select it here. If you want to add more attributes or the values, you can add it here for your agent. And I click on confirm.
Hello, others?
Yeah. Yeah. Hi.
Here one question
Yeah,
is, can we assign multiple values to a single attribute?
yes, you can assign, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we have assigned those attributes to our agent. And in a fourth step, what is the fourth step? Add the attribute to the project. How we can able to add the attribute to a project that we will see now. Yeah.
Sorry, Adarsh and Vicky. So the values that you added, what were those values? What's that?
Those values? Oh, sorry, I didn't get your full question.
You added the value, right?
Yes.
So what exactly is that?
Actually, that's the identification or that the values that we have added here is nothing but the identification of the key or flag that is to identify the bot as well as the values that we can able to create in our project as a predefined values or the identification flag that we can use as identification flag as well.
Can you show me that once again? I want to see the values. Thank you.
You want to see the values, right?
Yeah.
Here I have added the values as agent underscore 00. But once you create or once you are going to trigger this agent with some of the predefined values, then you can add a more specific values to them. It's moreover your requirement related. You can add a more values here, or you can add a single values.
Okay, okay, please continue.
Sure. Thank you. Then we will go to the fourth step. Here I have created a step. Yeah. Here I have created a project as BP underscore session 1. Right now we have added the attributes in a tenant level, and we have added the attributes to, and we have added that attribute to our bots, which is nothing but an agent. Now we have to assign those attributes in our project. Then only we can be able to use those values as well as the agent that is matching here. For that, to assign the attributes to the project level, click on setting, different agent, click on the attributes and select the attributes. Here in values, you can find the agent underscore 00. If you want to add more attributes also, you can able to add it, but not an, there is no restrictions. But in a real time, if you are going to perform any automation process, in an automation process, you have to mention some of the predefined context or some of the predefined values that you have to perform here. You can add as an attribute here, then you can use those values there. Click on the apply changes. And here in the project settings, I have made this. You can see all the information that what are all the information that we are available, what are all the agents that has been configured and the agent versions. Those things we have to map it here. Then only we will be able to run our agent for the automation. That we will do it later once we go to the automation process. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Now we have added the attributes to our process. Next, we will be looking. Yeah. Now we have covered the environments as well as the agent management. In an agent management, there is a one topic that we can able to create a group for the agents. Why we have to create a group for the agent? If we are going to run a specific task, for some of the scenarios like sales order creation or some of the scenarios, the group of agents that has to be involved there, or you can run an automation task with a group of agents. So for those perspectives, we can able to create a agent group. But the agent group, the agent group, we can't add it as a graphical way, that we have to do it via the Excel format. There is a predefined Excel format to create an agent group. If you see, when I click on this create agent, it asks us to upload a CSV file. That we will do it later. If we want a agent group, then we will do it later. Or if it's we are going to run an automation with a single agent, we can use the individual agent to run the automation. Because I have to explain all the topics which is respected to the agent, so that I'm trying to cover all the topics, what is available in this process automation tool. Here, I'm coming to the next solution and tool concept. Here, this is some predefined packages that we can import and we can use for the deployment. Now, before going to this, do we have any question in the previous topic, guys? With the environment and the agent management? I'm assuming there is no question. I'm moving to the next topic. Cloud, Cloud Foundry, Cloud Factory package and import. Cloud Factory package, import and deployment. Okay. What is a Cloud Factory package import? Where you can find those pre-built, the out-of-box projects that you can use it in your project and you can be able to add those projects as a version and you can release those projects and you can deploy it as your need. Where you can find this and what are all the available options for that. The package and the deployment tabs that are activate that you can see frequently at the beginning of your project. For that, we'll go to the lobby. Right now, SAP has changed those structures. See those projects and deployments. Right now, you can able to see this, what are the projects that you have created and the welcome message for SAP built, what are the tenants you are using now, and the create option to create a process automation or the build application or the build suite. In a build application, business process is there, the task automation is there. The SAP has changed and they have converted some of the options as a import here. Once you create a project in any other environment, you can be able to import those projects with by downloading a zip the MTAR file. You can be able to import those projects as here, and you can use those projects with your specific versions. That is more about the slide which you have seen now. The packages and deployments tab that are active that you use frequently at the beginning of the project. Enable project and scenario deployment. View of all packages. Import project package by studio. Bind to an environment. Make it available for attended or unattended. Connect with the API trigger and notifier. Tailored schedule planner from minutes to months. Yeah, we will be covering the packages, what are the available packages in the store that we can able to import to our lobby and bind to those projects to our environment that we will see in an upcoming session and make it attended and of a bot and unattended of a bot that we have covered earlier. Connect with an API trigger. What is the API trigger? Consider there is one use case. There is a persona that you have to trigger a workflow instance at a third-party system. Consider there is a third-party system that has been triggered, that API has been triggered at first. Then you have to go to the subsequent conditions or subsequent forms that you are going to perform, and there is some approval forms and there is some decisions who are going to approve those forms. Later, you are going to add some of the files to the form. Once those files has been successfully uploaded, then you are going to trigger an email Once the approve or reject email has been triggered by an automation process, by an agent, then the workflow instance, the workflow process will came to an end. The initial point which you have triggered the API as a third-party system, right? That's an API trigger. We will look those API triggers in an upcoming session. First, we will create a simple approval process or a simple form to fill and then approve through the form. Then we will go the purchase order creation, the export system, and the API triggers. We will cover all the scenarios in an upcoming classes. Okay. What is monitor and dashboards? Yeah. Monitor and dashboards is nothing but once you trigger an workflow instance, which is respect to your process or the project, you can monitor all those failed instances, what are all the jobs that has been failed, what are the ongoing jobs, what are the agents that has been triggered. You can get a history of the executed job as a successful, cancelled, and failed, and you can filter out the jobs based on the days, weeks, and months, and you can troubleshoot the agent if needed by adding a debugger to this. That's the monitor tab is completely customized. Will show you where this monitor tab will be available. Here in the left side, you can see the monitoring. Once the process and workflow instances is started, when you click and navigate to this process and workflow instances, you will see what are all the available processes or what are all the running processes here. The items and everything will be there. That these processes are run, you can see here. We'll move on to the topic as is given here. It's nothing but the SAP Cloud Factory, SAP Intelligent RPA Store. Actually, what SAP has did, they have given a pre-built projects with some of the scenarios that we can use and we can import and we can add those projects, use the same bot to execute the automation process with an hassle-free import and export. For that, how we can find that the SAP stores what are the project is available there. If you go to the SAP build application, SAP build design time environment, you can see the option of store. Here, there are 492 pre-built projects that are given as a out-of-box projects. Here you can add a filter like a project type, format type, content type, catalog, product, publishers, line of business, and the industry. For the industry based, they have given a more specific project for aerospace and defense, automotive, banking, chemicals, healthcare, high-tech media, utilities, travel and transportation. Okay. They have given more of those purposes. On in the line of business, the asset management, manufacturing, IT, human resources, marketing, material sales, sourcing and procurement, supply chain, sustainability. The business level of projects also they have added in a tool. But what you can do here, just you have to see, you have to select one of the project or the requirement which you have. The based on those, you can select the project. Then you can read out the description. I have selected the Excel SDK. The Excel SDK package is a composed of activities for accessing and monitoring Microsoft Excel. The library sections are different groups of activities for the modules. Here they have used the MS Excel instances, the workbook model, contains activities allowing you to work in a Excel. The worksheet is there, Excel helper, and you can see what are all the artifacts they have used here. Bundle, worksheet, workbook, Excel helper, error, without Excel application, what are the versions. It have up to 5 versions. You can able to get this the direct versions if you want 1.48.34. You can get the direct version. And what are the dependencies? Core SDK. What is Core SDK? Core SDK package contains main methods and the functions that you use to build and run our automation. These are all the dependencies for this Excel SDK process or project. What you can do here, you can simply click on add. And here you get a message toaster says Excel SDK process has been added successfully. Here itself you can open the process. See, once you add the project to your tenant, then it will be changed to a version as released. Directly it will change to version as released. If we want to do any changes here, or you have to do some of the changes that you can't able to do, you can accommodate those changes. That's what the pain point which you can use the out of box projects. You can't adjust the scenarios, you can't add any artifacts. That cannot be done here. Directly you have to deploy the project and you can run the process. Once the process is released, you can't do anything. Here it's more about the filters, and you can browse the search contents categories, line of business that we have seen. Get a look of the content provider summary, short form descriptions, what's new, and content details. If integration, Store Lab includes the retrieves the content in your tenant, use as is, download the project, and its filters include. But it says here, use as is or modify the project to fit your needs. But here, if you see here, yeah, if it's a released version, you can't able to do any changes here. That I have tried in a real time. I'm not able to do directly. I have to deploy it. That's it. Then the next topic is Cloud Studio overview. You can import the following projects extracted from the Desktop Studio as packages, all desktop packages. Okay. Other types of files if needed, such as desktop project, Desktop Studio. Moreover, the Desktop Studio that you can create process data types, managing structures, user task, enabling the running workflow inboxes. We will see the inboxes of the task, which is getting in a
real time once we build a process. Desktop process nothing but by our own we are going to add artifacts as a form, as a process, or approval, visibility scenarios, as a decisions or data types that we are going to use here. This is a desktop project. I mean, we can use multiple artifacts as by our own. This is what you can create a process, data types for managing the structures, user tasks for enabling user interactions, and while the automation is running. Workflow inbox. The workflow inbox is nothing but to approve. Let me show the workflow inbox as well. This is the workflow inbox. So my inbox application is a predefined application. It's given by SAP. Once you get any approvals, you will get a task here based on your email ID. Then you can able to approve or reject the forms or the approval tasks. RPA new generation, SAP Intelligent RPA Cloud Studio. Yeah, actually, the SAP Intelligent RPA Cloud Studio is completely browser-based, web-based authoring under specific and development application capture editor, automation designer, test and validation in an online tester or debugger. It's a completely browser-based tool that we are going to use in an RPA, which is nothing but a build process automation BPA. And the Windows-based the agent that we can add as a browser extension also. The agent which we have installed in our local machine in an RDP that we can add as a browser extension to our browser, Chrome browsers. Cloud Studio application capture. Guys, we have another option in an RPA in a or in a BPA and Cloud Studio. You can capture the application. You can record it, the Windows-based application, and you can add it to the automation process. What are the captured screen? Based on those screen capture, the automation will run, and once those matches, if the bots will find the matches between those applications, it will perform a success actions which we have defined in an automation. Yeah, we have an option for the capture that of the Windows-based application, the SAP application, or web-based applications. Capture applications and the screens can be used together in the automation. Cloud Studio automations. Automations uses little or no code. Moreover, we won't be using any code because SAP, the main motive of SAP is to build this BPA is low code and no code tool. It's a minimalistic of code that is going to be used here, and most of the scenarios is of graphical way only. There will be not using any more codes in real time by dragging and dropping the activities applications on the screens that you have captured previously, or what are all the controls or what are all the artifacts that is available within the process, or what are all the options you can drag and drop in a form or controls in a canvas. You can able to create one of a project and you can execute those. In an earlier scenario, before to this BPA, we would have a workflow management tool. In a workflow management tool, it's more about it's a JavaScript based tool where we have to add, where you have to write a code, we have to create a JS file for the service triggers and for the approval processes. You have to add such conditions. Here it's automated, it's completely drag and drop options. We no need to write a more code. If it's come to automation, just we have to write a 2 to 3 line of codes for the automations. That's it. And you can add conditions, loops, and various pre-built activities from click, keystroke, and office to generate code is visible to the user. Cloud Studio scripting and testing. SAP Intelligent RPA Cloud Studio now uses Node.js based JavaScript as a framework. Yeah, the complete application is built on Node.js based JavaScript as a framework. It's such as a breakpoint syntax. We can able to add a breakpoint if there is any error and available for the users to navigate the errors easily. But the pain point in an workflow management tool that earlier we could not able to add any breakpoint. There is only a monitor tab. In a monitor tab, we can see in which processes it is failed. We could not able to add any breakpoints. So that SAP has evolved his tool by adding this Node.js based JavaScript as a framework. Moreover, this application is designed within an UFI framework concept, which it's another separate module, SAP UFI. It's a front-end tool, a front-end application tool. They are using the SAP has used that module to build this tool. Desktop Studio tool suite. SAP Intelligent RPA Desktop Studio Suite is a suite of tools in an integrated development environment. IDE focusing on process automation development. The IDE process and all earlier we have in IRPA, which is it's the SAP the IDE that has been removed. For that they have introduced more specific to SDK, which we run as an integrated SDK, the automations process based on the development. It covers the specification and development perspective with an application capture tool, a code editor, and a workflow designer, and more. The workflow designer, yeah, we will create a new project as soon as possible. Then you will be able to see what are all the process there. Desktop Studio application capture. Application capture, you can declare and identify all UI elements on your applications. This is done with a graphical user interface GUI and powerful UI inspectors. Yeah. Guys, if you want to create any such UI application, right now we have I have told there's a separate module for the UI application. For that, from that also we will be creating a task for the approvals, and we will trigger a workflow from the UFA applications. But right now, the SAP has made an developer's life as easy. There is just a drag and drop controls is available. With the help of those drag and drops controls, you can able to create a simple form or simple screen with the headers and the controls informations like text area, text drop downs, and you can add those values in the drop downs. Those things are made it easy by an SAP in this build process automation tool. Desktop Studio application capture for SAP technologies. Application capture supports the SAP GUI for Windows. We have updated our WebDriver for SAP UI5, which is used by SAP S/4HANA and many other applications now. Application capture that we have discussed the application capture based on the capturing the application the bots will run. It will run a success or rejection scenarios. They have introduced for the SAP GUI Windows also, and they have update their driver, a web driver for the SAP UI5 as well, which is used by the SAP, which is used as a backend as SAP S/4HANA and many other applications. From SAP GUI to SAP S/4HANA, decided dedicated connector for SAP GUI for Windows, dedicated connector of SAP S/4HANA and SAP UI5 wait ready method, better support when SAP UI5 based applications are running in the background. Custom type. Okay. What it's more about the concept of with once we designed and workflow instances, or once we trigger and once we created an automation process, we should add a trigger point. Someone has to trigger this, correct? Whether you can able to trigger by your own by an APIs which you have given as a select trigger or a submit form or the other option which is available, or you can trigger the workflow instances directly from an SAP UFA application with the help of workflow definition ID. How to get a definition ID? There is the APIs for the workflow for the workflow instances. With those REST APIs, you will be able to get those workflow definition ID. From the workflow definition ID, you will trigger this workflow design time that you workflow project that we will look in detail in the upcoming sessions. These are the theory parts. You can bootstrap your project with Workflow Designer. Using Workflow Designer, you identify the key of workflows. You can even use it for a quick specification or to document a business process you would like to automate. Bootstrap your project with Workflow Designer. Yeah, actually, the SAP standard by directly adding an automation task, first we have to build a workflow project. In a workflow project or in a workflow designer, we can add automations that based on the scenarios. Identify the key workflows, quick specification of documents, one-click code generation, understand core workflow concepts quickly, add commands into the code. Right now, we don't have to write this much of code. Earlier, we have these options. Now the product has been evolved. There is we have right now the low code and no code too, so that we don't need to write these much of codes. Managing the scripts generated from Workflow Designer or the scripts you have created easily. The scripts task, earlier we have a script task and the mail task and the service task in our workflow management, and they have implemented in RPA as well. Right now we don't have those tasks. It has been removed in this tool. Okay, we go through. That is quite boring and go through this. We will create a quick project and we'll show you how to create a workflow instances. Earlier, I have created this DPA session one. I will use this same project. In this DPA session one, I have added one process as approval process. I'll delete this.
First, we'll go through the process, the actual process. In this artifact, I'm going to choose a process. In the process, I'm going to give a name as once we create a process, we open, we can see what is the trigger point you are going to add here. Or if you are going to add a trigger point later, then you can add these options as a form or approval controls and events. In the controls and events, you have your conditions and the branches. Like this is nothing but a workflow instance, workflow design time tool. You can add an automation, you can add an action. There is no action yet. Email trigger, subprocesses. Subprocesses nothing but within one process you can when you can want to travel for such of the conditions. Let's see one of the scenario where you can use the subprocesses. In the main process, there are n number of backend updates or the transaction data updates has to be happen. So that in the main process, by adding APIs and updating to the backend or the interim database like HANA Cloud, you can add a subprocess in between those, and you can navigate once those um, forms are built, once those instances are successfully completed, then those updates has to be happen in a subprocess. For that, we will be using this subprocess in a real time. And in a decision is nothing but a decision table. And we have discussed this about yesterday. There is a decision table with if and else condition. What is if and else condition? If you are given a condition, if employee 1 has a salary of more than 20,000 per annum or 20,000 per month, is going to is eligible to apply a credit card. This is the one scenario. If you give the if condition as employee 1, the salary as a second attribute, and the values as yes, by checking the condition in the decision table, you can able to get the direct output from the decision table of that particular row, and you can use it in your workflow instances that we will see in later. Okay. Yes. First, I will add it trigger as a submit form. Once you created a form, you'll have an editor option to add more controls to the form. I have given the name as initial process of this form. Once this BPA underscore session1 project is executed, then it will trigger this form. The user has to fill this form. Then they have to do some of the operations by adding the next process. Once those operations are satisfied, and it will check the controls, it will check the data in this form. Based on those data, it will go for an approval or it will reject the form. I'm adding an heading here. Once we've added an header, then I'm adding a text control. You can drag and drop the text control wherever you need. Yeah, I'm giving an employee. Name. And I'm adding another one text as employee ID. And the department of the employee. The description. For the description, we have a control as text area. Hours required. For the text, for the hours required, I'll be using a controller. Additional concept of then start date and end date of the project. Okay, now we have added on simple form, which is our request of the employee details, employee name, employee ID, department description, hours required, cost reference, started and end date. If you see, yeah, within the initial process, before to that, here the star icon, asterisk symbol is there, right? Why? Because of this asterisk symbol is there. Right now we are in an editing mode. You see the project is in editable mode and it's not saved. Other user won't be available to edit this artifact when you are editing it. So that once we added some of the controls, frequently you can have to save the process. Okay. Later you can make a edit. You can add some of the throttle limits in an employee or in input validations. You can do it, but once you create this, please save it because the session will be timeout and the forms will not be. If it not be saved, you can't able to retrieve those forms. The session timeout maybe it can be happens at any time. So if there is no active session, so there is no active of this project, means the session timeout will be happening. Yeah, right now the BPA T-shirt process is not so not so. Yeah, we have added a text control for employee name. Yeah. Is there any also? We have added a text control for the employee name.
if you see, there are some of the kata limits. If you have to set the kata limit minimum as 5 and the maximum as what are the numbers which you can have, you can set the kata limit, because the UEFI standards which we are creating and form with the UEFI, the SAP UEFI standards, it has some of the kata limits and the input validations for the input controls. You can choose the validation type as letters. If you type apart from these regular expressions, only the letters, if I type 1 as a number, it will give the error as invalid value. And according to that, you can choose those validation types, alphanumeric, or you can add a custom validations also here. You can set a custom error message once you are adding a custom validations. Here I'm going to add a custom validation with alphanumeric and asterisk and dollar symbol is there. Okay. I'm trying to add an hash. Please enter valid input. It will give an error. Okay. We have seen the character limit and input validation. Apart from this, there's a configuration option. In a configuration, if you want to make it as mandatory, you can add as a required. Once you add, when you check this required checkbox, here you can see the mandatory field has been added. And you can add another some of the descriptions here. Please enter only the employee name. Once I give the description, then there is a description will be available. When you forward to this description, please enter employee name. You can be able to remove the description as well. Okay, MA and setting the employee ID as mandatory, department as mandatory, field description is not required, others as mandatory, mandatory. Okay. I created a form. Once the form, the controls are added in the form, we have to give some of the actions that has to be triggered in the form, whether it's an unmute or it's the next, we are going to navigate to the next screen, like or we are going to send any to some of the data to be any APIs or custom text you can add here in a form. There are the options available for that. Right now, I'm using a submit. Yeah. Once this initial process form is completed, then we will add the form is created within UI controls. After that, we will add some process controls and approval forms with the conditions. Yeah. To add the condition to this workflow, you have to click on this plus icon. In this, you can able to see many options where you can find the condition, if and else condition. you can click on this control and events. In an control and event control, you could find a condition. When you click on this condition, the option will be open in the right side. There is a if condition and the default condition. If the if condition is satisfied, it will be this route, or the else condition is satisfied, it will default to true and it will end the process. Okay. Here you can change the condition name as well. Whatever you want, you can get the condition name. I'm going to edit the if condition as per my wish. Second item. And Mani, is there any doubt? Here I'm going to add a department is equals to, you can set a condition as equal, not equal, is empty, not empty, contains, does not contains, whatever you want, you can set as an option the condition. And the department, I'm going to have a department as a value. Which value I'm not going to choose here. I'm going to type a value as department should be HR department. Okay. And we can run that one condition. The additional funds required is equal to 200. Yeah. And I'll apply the changes. Once I apply the changes, the if condition will be added here. And you can see the condition is defined. You can see what all the conditions is we have given. Value of the department is equal to HR and the value of the cost required is equal to 200. We have given those two conditions. Okay, once this is done, we'll be closing this. Then we are going to add an approval form in an if condition. If you see, once I add this approval form, there is multiple routes. If the condition is satisfied with the approval form, it will go via approve route and it will end to this process. Here it has been rejected. It will go via this route and it will go to the end of the process. We will align this. Okay, we will fill this approval form. We will fill those subject details later. Right now, we will fill the forms. Database approval. Okay, here I'm giving the heading. Okay, now I give the heading as header level 2. Employee ID. Employee name. Department. And the command. Approval command. In the bottom, in the footer level, I am adding the 2 buttons, approve and reject, because it's an approval form. I'm adding 2 buttons. Here, I'm going to make the employee ID control as this field as required. Once it's not a required, it should be a read only. Employee name is also read only. Department is also read only. Here, the commands, it has to be required. And the minimum commands is of 10, 5 characters. Maximum it's 1700 characters. Okay. Then I click on save. Click on save the main process which I have created. Yeah. Currently, if you see here the approval form is showing as an error right now. Why it's showing an error? Because we have not filled some of the details in the approval form. These are all the header level of information and the priority description and who has to get this approval and whether we have declaring any groups for the approval. Those things we have to give here, and there is a due date or not. Once the due date is completed, you can set as a time as well. Once the time is completed, this form will be auto approved or reject. We can set it there. Those options are there. But we will discuss those options and we will continue with the form for tomorrow. Right now, what are the topics that we have covered today? It's moreover the module 1 that it's completed. It's full of a theory, but I'm not favorite of theory. My way of training is to work as a real time and show more scenarios that I will be prefer. Yeah, the future scope. SAP Intelligent RPA related tools and products at the time of developing this course. Okay, what are the future scope that they have going to add in the tool? They have mentioned here, but those feature scopes are added because the IRPA tool has been released in 2021 and the later patches has released in 2022. After that, SAP has changed the name as to build process automation. From the build process automation, at every quarter, the 3 months, they are releasing a new functionalities in this tool. Now this product is as much as evolved, and the number of customers are using these products, so that the products are for the BPA is completely evolved as a much functionality compared to this IRPA. The summary of this process, intelligent process automation aims to accelerate the digital transformation by automatically replicating actions that have no added values. We have seen the definitions in the first slide. This is the summary. If there is no action needed by the human in such place, that we are going to implement the bots as an automation to execute those process and complete the process.